All right. Well, hi guys. Welcome everybody. My name is Kelly Foster. I'm your senior Ruby upline, and we are so excited to have a special guest with us tonight. This is my friend Tara Truax, and we met at Over Yonder Cay. We both were fortunate enough to be on that trip, and we became fast friends. And, as we have been, Julie and I, talking about just kind of, getting back into the grind, hopefully, as fall is here, what we have to bring you and what we can do to energize our team. And so, I get a lot of private messages, people asking me about product knowledge. And Tara and I had talked in the past about both being green. But Tara actually blows me away. So sometimes when you ask me questions, I just go to her and she helps me. But she has so graciously agreed to give us her time and to be here tonight and share some things with you. She, as I've mentioned, she's got a lot of product knowledge, but she also has done a really good job of having a public Facebook page and promoting herself publicly and getting this following. And so I asked her to talk a little bit about that as well. So Tara, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, and we're just going to soak up whatever it is that you have to offer us.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm Tara Truax. I am a Ruby ambassador with Plexus. I just hit my 3-year anniversary. I am also a master certified health coach for families, pregnancy and breastfeeding, and seniors, and a retired birth doula. And I was a retired professional dancer. And while I was a professional dancer, I was a personal trainer in there for 10 years. So my whole background, my whole life was always in holistic health. And I was super skeptical when I started Plexus. I actually thought, and for a couple of years, thought people drinking this pink thing were crazy because it had to have dye in it, and they were just nuts. But I basically got to a point where I had severe adrenal fatigue. I had bad postpartum depression and bad postpartum anxiety after my second baby. And the baby weight wasn't coming off, and I was still dancing like 6 days a week. I was running a dance studio full time at the time, and I truly was like desperate. And I was going to a special type of chiropractor, and I was getting supplements that were costing me about $800 a month. It's about $400 every 2 weeks. And I was starting to feel a little bit better, but not $800. To me, at that point, I should be feeling like gold. And I just was like a little bit. So I finally reached out to one of my friends who was breastfeeding who's pregnant at the time, and I was breastfeeding. And so I knew if she could take the supplements while pregnant, I was fine breastfeeding. And so I reached out to her and I started the triplex, and I just went out to my husband and I said, look, this is my last, I got to do something. I woke up in the morning every day, felt like I had no blood. I was barely like planning my naps, like based on, at this point I had 2 kids, but based on when one son was at school, when my other one would take a nap, and my whole life, I was just achy and in pain and just like surviving, barely surviving. And needless to say, when my triplex came, I had just done a Candida yeast cleanse. I had been on taking like this really expensive $100 probiotic. All of this stuff, but I had just gotten strep throat. And so the girl I got it from, she's like, oh, well, you just did the yeast, you just did all the stuff, you should be fine. Oh my goodness, was I not? I had so much die-off, so much going on. And with my background and knowing this stuff, I was like, wow, this stuff is actually really working. What the heck? So I started digging in. Now, I had done a little research. I am red-green. I am red first, though. So if I see something and I know it fits into the thing, I will dive in and then do my research. I know a lot of green personalities, they'll do all the research first. I kind of dive in first, and then sometimes I'll end up having to back out. Thank goodness with Plexus, that was not the case. So I started doing the research, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this stuff is really amazing, and digging in more and more. And 2 weeks in, I no longer needed naps anymore. My adrenal fatigue was gone. 6 weeks in, my anxiety and depression was gone. I started dropping baby weight like nobody's business. And like I said, I was dancing 6 days a week. I was working out. I was super healthy already. I already ate really well. Not as great as I do now, but better than 90% of most people. And I ended up losing in my first year, a little past my first year, I ended up losing 39 pounds and 52 inches. I ended up getting chronic tendonitis gone, chronic bladder condition I had since I was about 20 gone, no more issues. I was able to, my milk supply lasted 2 years with my first, it dried up at 14 months, which I'm like super crunchy mama. So that was a big deal for me. Helped us with my son's ADHD, helped us with my son's anxiety. My husband's psoriasis went away. My husband's energy drink, gone. And it helped me get pregnant with my third baby. And that was a big deal for us because I had a really hard time with my second, with a lot of miscarriages and stuff. And so I had the best pregnancy ever with her, and gained 25 pounds with her. I gained 45 with my second and 55 with my first. Like I said, I had all these issues going in. That's how I found Plexus with my second. After Presley, my little girl that just turned 1 this last week, I was in my pre-pregnancy jeans the week after she was born. I still have about 6-7 more pounds left to go to where I was when I got pregnant with her, but we are like in good shape. So I can't even tell you, as these products, everything comes out, Plexus keeps redoing and reformulating and really focusing on people like us that really dig into ingredients. And like, there were some products where I was like, I'm just going to stay away from those for a while. And they've gone in and reformulated them and fixed them and adjusted them. Now, in this process, I will tell you, I went from knowing nothing about social media at all. Zero. I didn't know anything except stuff that I had learned to run the dance studio I was running. And in that, it was just basics because I was using their Facebook page and running their stuff. It was very different than running your own. And I got in trouble a lot with compliance at first. I have gotten more calls from compliance than a lot of people would like to. But one great thing about Plexus is they work with you. They tell you, hey, you can't do this part of what you did, but this part is good, or we have to adjust this. And they really do work with you. And so through that, I've learned a lot. But what the biggest thing now that I've learned, and I'm thankful that I have a really amazing support system of somebody that is married to somebody that actually works for Facebook advertising, who's given us a lot of information. And here's a big tip I want to share with you guys. If you are posting something on social media that is not allowed in a paid ad. So if you can go in, and you can do this in Facebook, look in the, I don't know if it's in the settings or whatever for advertising, you can look up what the rules are to run an ad on Facebook. And it would have to be in, if you had like a business page. If your post, even on your private page, if your post does not fit into that context, there is no way Facebook is going to allow your post to get in a lot of people's feeds and a lot of people to see it for free when people are not even allowed to pay for it. So you have to keep that in mind. And the biggest one I keep seeing over and over and over is the 20% text rule. If your graphic or picture or whatever has more than 20% text in it, it is going to get knocked you right out of the algorithms. And once you're knocked out of those algorithms, good luck being seen in people's feeds. The most important thing that I've learned over time is you want to reach out and be in contact with the people that you want to attract to you. So how do you do that? The most important thing is to be you. So be you and be unique. And the only way to do that is to be public. I can't even tell you how many people have come to me and joined my team that I actually did not know, that followed me for a long time before that I didn't know. And they cannot follow you if you're not posting publicly. If all your stuff is private and nobody can see it, then you are only in your small network of people and there's no one outside that can follow you. So using other grounds like Instagram and YouTube, if you make videos or whatever, and people can find you that way. And you know, it's scary at first. I came from, again, like Kelly, I know you're a teacher and you have a lot of other teachers. I ran a dance studio. I was working with kids all the time. I did not want everybody to know all my business. You can make your family stuff, or you can make certain parts of your page. When you do that post, just put friends only. That's fine. But what I don't suggest you do is only make your Plexus post public and only make your family post private, because then anybody that's looking and you try to friend request them and they can see your public posts is only going to see Plexus, and they're going to be like, that girl only does Plexus. She's only friending me for that. I have no interest in her. Instead, make your real life Plexus integrated. Like, for example, if you follow me or you look on my page this last week, I made a post with my family picture and said, I am so excited. I got to pay my mortgage and my insurance as a stay-at-home mom. And that, to me, I am so grateful for. Now, that is a Plexus post, but I didn't say Plexus anywhere in there, nothing. But I am really looking to who I am sharing with and who I want to attract to me. So that is the other big tip I want to give you guys. Know who you want to attract. You cannot be attracting everyone with every post. So if you have a story that is autoimmune, or if you are a pregnant mama, or if you are a breastfeeding mama, or if you have a long story of skin conditions or whatever it is, focus on posts, I would say, that are heartfelt to your life, how you're living with this. And you can have a picture of your drink in there. But social media, especially Facebook, because they do not want people using Facebook for business anymore. If you put Plexus in that post, they're going to knock you out of the algorithms. Right now, they're targeting health and wellness, and you actually have to be super careful of using things like weight loss, things like supplements, things like you have to watch out for terms and be like, you don't want to run something about running a special, a deal. You don't want to use a sale, any of those words, because it's going to flag you and knock you down. And once you get knocked down, actually right now, you can't even do side-by-sides. So there's like a thing, you can run a thing, you can look up Facebook. I think it's in the ads. It's in that ad breakdown, and it shows you what you can't do. You can't do like if you took a full picture of somebody with their shirt up and was like showing their abs, that's okay. But you can't do a cropped picture of just the abs without the full person, because it's considered a type of body shaming, and they don't want people focusing on certain areas of the body. So you can't even do that on Facebook right now. So a lot of like the Joy Own pictures, the side-by-sides, if you're going to share that, share a picture of just your face, or share a picture of something else that incorporates something you're feeling with Joy Own. And then in the comments, post those pictures. Because if you post it in the comments, it's not going to throw you out of the algorithm. So other things to really keep in mind. So yeah, somebody had actually told me like, oh, that picture you did was going to knock you out. And I was like, what? And then they showed me in the Facebook ads. I was like, oh my God, I totally missed that. And like so many other people have too. So things to keep in mind. Now that is really, really, really important as you're trying to build a following and grow, because what happens is we get in this cycle with our Facebook friends and everybody's commenting on everybody's thing. And then nobody you want to really see, the new customers, the new ambassadors, the people you want to draw in, are going to see your stuff because you're in this crazy posting cycle. So if you start to post real, genuine things that are mixed in your life and not so Plexus, and make sure you are reaching out. And if you don't already make separate friends lists or make separate lists of who you see first in your feeds. I really suggest that, because those people that you're really working on or potentials that you really want to be engaging with, make sure you see their stuff and you're engaging with them in a very natural way, because then they're going to see yours as well. You want to drive a conversation with them, and it's better even to drive a conversation with them in the comments of a post than in a private message. So like, even when you send happy birthday to somebody, really send something. Don't just say happy birthday. But if you can get a conversation going, that is actually going to help you when you're posting, that they're going to see your stuff, because what it tells Facebook is, hey, she likes what I'm saying, or they like each other. I'm going to show them, right? Because it's a system. So those are things to keep in mind. And so when we focus our posts towards a certain area, or a certain group, so say this week I'm focusing on moms of 3 with breastfeeding babies. And so these are the people via Instagram and via Facebook that I'm focusing on in my in groups, like if I'm in like a mom baby group. So these are the people that I'm focusing on building relationships with. These are the people I'm focusing on commenting on their stuff this week, or 2-3 weeks. And these are the people I'm focusing on drawing to my team. What that does is it kind of creates like a little clustered community for your team. And it will prevent you from doing what I did when I started, which is create a sick team. And I am such a huge advocate for this, because being a health coach and being somebody that goes after the products first, what happens is you end up going after sick people, right? I mean, when I say sick, like people that are like really ill and they need the products. Well, people that are really ill are not going to be able to focus on building a business, because they have to focus on themselves first. And so you end up actually building what I call a sick team, or base a whole bunch of wholesale people. And either sometimes they get better and they take off, but what it does is it's a really slow, drawn out process, or they go through more health issues and it just becomes like a cycle. So if you can focus on those clusters, if you have an autoimmune condition, yeah, you're going to want to connect to that group of people, right? But don't build your whole team on it. Then after a few weeks, kind of shift. And now for 3 weeks, I'm going to focus on people that are dog owners, that are whatever. I don't even know. Something that you care about. But you can allow yourself to build these little parts of your team, and then you can kind of train them, and they kind of build their own little community together. And it actually helps you train and get people off, and then they build connections as well. And so that actually really, really helps social media wise. But again, you just have to be really careful when you're doing public posts and stuff like that. Really try not to do like, you want to watch income claims, and you really want to watch your terminology when it comes to health conditions. I still use stuff. No, that maybe I'll get caught, maybe I won't. But you really want to like be aware. And if you do that, try not to share other people's testimonies that have specific health conditions in them. I would use other testimonies that maybe, if you're sharing other people's that on your page that are not specific. But yeah, so that's what I have for social media. Kelli walked away. But does anyone have any questions? I'll just ask you because Kelli just walked away real quick. Does anyone have any questions? If you're muted or unmuted, or go ahead and unmute yourself. No. Okay.
I'll make a comment. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm driving, so I really don't know.
Oh, okay. I was like, I can't see you.
That's really a lot to take in, and it's terrifying. Like, it's good notes, though. Like, I mean, it's great information, but I think it gives us a lot to think about.
Okay, so tell me this. Tell me this. What about it feels terrifying to you?
Well, I mean, because there's a lot of things that we do now, like, okay, side-by-side posts, that's pretty common, right? And that just thinking about, I just feel like as you were going through all these things you shouldn't and shouldn't do, right? It's just about everything almost I feel like I am posting. So I think I really need to get better at just planning posts and
Yes.
think about them ahead of time as opposed to my on the fly. I'm in the car
Yes.
drinking my lean this morning.
You
I mean,
totally hit it on the head. So truly, if you plan your social media, and here's the thing, guys, you don't really have to post, really, if you want to do 1 time a day, 2 times a day is great, and try to do it during those prime hours, and you kind of know where your prime hours are. For me, it's like really 9 a.m. in the morning and between 8 and 9 p.m. in the evening, except for me on Thursday, and this is as a Facebook rule, they did a study on this, the best posting time ever on Facebook is Thursday between 4 and 5 Eastern Standard Time. Who knew? But I've tested it time and time again, and I get more traction on the posts that I post at that time than any other thing. So who knew? But random time, I guess social media is excited on that day. But what it truly does is it makes us have to be more creative. And yes, it can be intimidating, especially if you're not feeling creative. But what it can do is really try to make you more authentic. And when you are more authentic, your business is going to do better, period. Just think of it as when you go into a store, are you going to go into the store where the person that works there, that is the owner, loves what they do so much that they like put their heart and soul into it and they talk to the people that come in and they're there? Or are you going to go into the person that's all about salesy and they're sleazy and they're just taking what the next guy did and throwing up their deal? And so you kind of want to think of it like that, right? Because that's what we are. And it takes a little bit of time. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, I was doing it wrong too. You just kind of learn through your errors. So don't stop, but just be like, oh, look, I could take this post. And I even did it myself. I screwed myself 2 weeks ago. And I was like, oh, and how I knew I did is I usually get like, say, 98 likes or 120 likes or loves. Also, don't like people's stuff. Don't like people's stuff. Only love it, happy it, sad it, whatever. If you're going to click on people's stuff, don't like it. That's a trick too, by the way. Okay. It's social media, which means conversation media, not stalker media. And if you're just clicking, going like on everybody's stuff, they consider you like stalker media. So don't do that. But you just scroll over and hit the heart. It will help you out. But I literally used a word in what I wrote, and I got like, I don't know, 8 likes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I totally screwed myself. And I went back and I changed the words, and it helped. It showed up in people's feeds. So just like really, just don't think sales. Don't think sales. Just think like you, sharing you, what you love, authentic in your life. And as much as you cannot copy and paste other stuff, the system knows when it's copied and pasted. So if you copy somebody else's thing, change it, adjust it, make it yours. Whatever you can to adjust it to you. Don't just copy and paste it, okay? Because the system will know, and you'll notice like a really great post, someone will do something really great and they get tons and tons and tons of interaction. And then the next person and the next person, by like that last time that person somebody posts it, you'll see that they're only getting like 4 people liking it. It's because Facebook caught on and they're not showing it. So we just want to be like authentic. So if we're authentic, and it, like I said, it's again trial and I call it trial and correction, because like I said, I made a mistake. I went back and fixed it. Oh, well, the next time. Worst thing you do is save your post in your little, files on your phone, and like, I'll try it at a different time and delete it and come back and post it later. I mean, doesn't hurt you. Are there other questions? about that type of social media stuff specifically?
So what do you think about this, Tara? We will try within our team, if we do have a post that falls flat, we have a runner's chat in Messenger, and we'll just go into Messenger and we'll ask for people just to support our post to pop it back up. Is that antiquated thinking, or does that work?
The problem with that, it depends. The problem with that, if it's specifically like a Plexus post, your engagement time is 15 minutes from the time you post it. So if you don't get 5 engagements, posts, like comments back and forth in that first 15 minutes, you're already dropping down. Then when you're in your like circle of thread and you guys all comment on that, basically all it did was tell Facebook, hey, these people are my friends. This is the only people I want to see their stuff. And you created a commenting circle. So it literally makes a bubble. So you're actually probably, if it's just falls flat, remove it, put it on at a more high frequency time. Maybe you posted it at 6. All right, maybe that wasn't a good time that day. So try it at 9 p.m. It may be like, and it depending on what you say falls flat, but that could be it. But you just want to be careful if you're always just cycling. And if you have somebody that's not Plexus, or that they're watching you or whatever, and they see the only people that are commenting are like, oh, I love this too, or this is so great for me, or it's like that, like, hey guys, comment on my stuff. They see that. Then they see, then it's not those authentic, like, hey, what's this? Or, oh, I've been thinking about that. Other people that are obviously not using the products. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you kind of want to choose that wisely. Not that you not ever do it, but choose it wisely.
So that we're not just ending up in this vicious cycle of, so I'll just add one thing that I do, and you talked about it a little bit, Tara, but in order to ensure that we don't fall into that rut or that cycle, is being very intentional about going to people who I'm targeting and commenting on their stuff. And I've tested it, and it's surefire. Like I'll go into my friends, and we've looked at this before on like power hours, and you can see if they have new posts that you've missed. And so I specifically just go and I look for their new posts, and I'll go in and comment, and sure enough, like moments later, they have commented back on my post because now they're seeing my stuff.
And you can also do it through Messenger, seeing who's on, look at the green, and go through and see who's on, and then go comment on their stuff. And you could be very, very deliberate before you post something. So like, say the post that I'm about to do is like I said, like that post I did for being a stay-at-home mom, and this is, what I was able to do. Well, I have, maybe 10 potentials that are in my funnel somewhere that are wanting to be a stay-at-home mom, or are a stay-at-home mom, or just had a baby and would like to stay, whatever. I'm going to intentionally comment on their stuff within the 10 minutes before I go to make this post. Because then when I post it, I already know they're on. I looked in the Messenger, I see the green thing. So I went to their page. But I didn't private message them. I just went to their page and like said something genuine on one of their posts. And so now when I post, I'm going to show up. So it's like a very organic, and truly these are people I'm friends with anyway, or want to be friends with, or want to be, it's not unauthentic. Like I'm definitely working on building relationships with these people. So that's the thing. We're in the relationship business. It goes back to, seriously, I've done the same thing. Like I went to buy a car. The guy was totally sleazy. I turned around and left. Even though I knew what car I wanted, I didn't want to buy it from that person. So then I go back and find somebody else. People are going to do the same thing with you with Plexus. They have hundreds of thousands of choices. I guess not millions yet, but hundreds of thousands of choices of who they can get it from. So what makes you valuable? The relationship you have and who you are. And guys, nobody wants to be on a team, especially if they're looking for a business, if you're a negative Nancy. So don't be negative on your Facebook page. Don't be negative with your team. Don't be negative with your sidelines. If you have a problem, go to your upline. Like seriously, go to somebody that has not anywhere in your direct, organization right there. If you have a problem and you need help and you can't go get it on your own, ask your upline. But seriously, it is so important that you create the type of team you want, and that has to come from who you are. So that's what we attract. And I'm keeping all that in mind. Remember that, like I said, I built a sick team. It's what I had super fast momentum. And then I really slowed down because of that. So you really want to be careful when you're building, that you're building in, I'm just not always going after people for weight loss, or I'm just not always, I shouldn't say going after, but I'm not always like looking to attract that, because that's what your only focus is. But I do recommend, if you like each month, like my month this month, I said, I'm going to focus on Joyome. Okay, so then focus your business that month on Joyome, and your business is going to do a lot better. And again, you're going to create, a little, I don't want to say a bubble, but a little community there of people with Joyome testimonies. Or this month, I want to move 8 triplex HCs. So that's what you're going to focus on. And that's what you're going to focus on. And your messages are going to be quicker when you message people, because you're pretty much talking about the same thing. You're going to be focusing your social media on that, so you don't have to come up with a lot of new content, because everything's going to kind of be in there. Prepare your content, guys. Like, I'm not sure who I was talking to, but I couldn't see her, but prepare your content. If you do something on the fly, a lot of times I get a lot of really good ideas at times where it's not good prime time to post. So I just take my phone, and in the notes section, I'll type my post in there and save it. And I do that a lot. So then when it is a good time, then I can drop it in, and that will save you a lot of time. Okay. And then if you make sure you follow people that are really authentic, that you like how they post. And then if you do copy a post, I highly recommend, do not copy that post and post it right away. Copy that post and save it in your notes. And then when you go to paste it, make sure you adjust it and make it yours. And including, guys, this is a huge pet peeve, emojis. If you have black hair, do not post something that has a blonde hair emoji. That is a sign you just copied and pasted. Okay? So make sure, and like sometimes people will use hashtags that are so not their way of talking. That tells your audience that you didn't write that. So make sure that you're being authentic in that. Anything else, Kelly? For that?
I wrote down a couple questions. So when I turned my Facebook page to public, which was just last April, I was private as well for forever. I started doing some research, and this is right around the same time that I started working Instagram too. And I got contradicting information about hashtags on Facebook. Do you use them the same way?
Yeah. Okay. Do not. Oh, hang on. He told us how many. Okay. So do not use more than 10 hashtags on Facebook. Less than 10 on Facebook, you're good. More than 10 knocks you down. On Instagram, you can use up to 30. And use them, because that's a search tool marketing place. And if you don't follow hashtags on Instagram, follow them. And I also recommend changing them each week. So like 1 week I'll follow hashtag inspired mom or hashtag mama3. I try to do 3 hashtags. I'll follow those for like a week, and then I'll change the ones I follow so that I see those posts and I'm able to interact with those people. But yeah, Facebook, and that just came from I just actually learned this only a few weeks ago about the hashtags for Facebook, that he said more than 10 knocks you down, less than 10, Facebook says you're good.
You guys, if you have any questions at all, please, go ahead and chime in. But I encourage you to follow Tara, after we get off of this call. And then this weekend when you have some time, check out her live videos. They're just...
That's another thing I want to mention is the lives.
Yeah, they're so good. She's so good at what she does. And yeah, tell us, Tara, what's important about that.
So you guys, I used to want to throw up to go live. Throw up. Okay. This is not something I was good at. Social media I learned all of this. Like I would go on YouTube and watch videos because I didn't know how to do any of this. So when I'm telling you anybody can do it, anybody can. And I am still learning to build Instagram. I have built my followers quite a bit. I don't have hundreds of thousands like a lot of people yet because I still really feel very comfortable and still working in Facebook. And they're different. So you kind of do want to know where your strength is and then work, from there. But going live, one, is so important for how you come up in the algorithms. But two, it makes you your most relatable self. Period. People can see you. People can feel you. People can hear. You can't lie. Like you can't lie. And when you can build those relationships with people that you don't even know, people trust you. And when people trust you, they trust you with your health. Health is a big thing, right? We are blessed now to also have Joyome because it's a skincare, which is not as vulnerable as talking to people about how many times they poop. But seriously, it's a big thing. And especially for people that maybe their best self is being completely held back by their health. So we have to keep those things in mind, that the more authentic and genuine we are, it is hard. It is scary. Do I like that? Like, my sisters and my family, they don't watch my stuff. Why? Because I'm way too vulnerable for their comfort zone. But I've learned that it's actually not as much about me as it is about if I share this story, who can it help? And it has helped more people than I'm just a carrier for that story. So remember, and this is also something too, guys, I'm an introvert. I go back and look at my first lives and I was shaking and I was scared and I felt like I was going to throw up. It just takes practice. So just start doing them. Talk about something you're passionate about. Talk about something you care about. Talk about something you've learned. And this is the easiest way to get past all algorithms. You can talk about anything you want and they can't flag your words. So that's why I share about products. That's why I share about testimonies. I do it in lives because they can't not want to say catch you, but they can't like knock you out. And then I can save it and always save your lives. And then if you want, if it's a good one, then upload it to YouTube so people can find it later. But it's a way to provide value. And it really does help you. And to just do them. Like, I don't even care. Seriously, I'm telling you, if I could do it as somebody that like never used to be able to talk and now I love to do it. So just do them.
Can you talk for one more minute about, this is my hardest thing, is what do I have to say? Like, what do I have to say? Like generating content, like how do you work through?
Okay, so this is a little bit harder. So what I do is sometimes I'll get a lot of ideas and I just I'm going to try that again. Jot down notes. So what you want your lives to be as balanced about your life, things you're going through, maybe mindset stuff, something you've learned, something you're working through, something you're working through with your kids, a way of doing something. Mix in with Plexus. Like if you are only doing lives on Plexus, you are not going to like get people watching it. A testament to what I'm doing is working just happened to me last Saturday because I went to I better put this pen down, it's distracting me. I went to a back to school happy hour with my neighbors. Okay. And we were all down the street and there was a bunch of new neighbors that I haven't met in my neighborhood. And so many of them were like, oh my gosh, I love watching your lives. Oh my gosh. And I was like, what? You do? They don't ever comment. I had no idea. But all these women were watching my lives, and they actually, when I go live, go and watch them. It's so inspiring. It helps me. I'm like, hello, thank you, God, it's working. So remember, a lot of people that see your stuff are not commenting. You have to remember that people are watching us. So also keep that in mind with your lives, with your posts, with everything you're doing. People are watching. And I have people who have not joined me. I have people I've been talking to for 3 years who still haven't joined me, who say, I've been watching your journey. I'm so inspired. So I know they're still watching. So they know they're still there. And I just keep working on building that relationship because maybe their timing isn't right. But when it comes to content, and I'm not going to tell you finding that content is always easy. Sometimes I'm like, one time I was cooking breakfast and I got really fired up about something somebody said on another live I was watching. And I got so fired up that I had to say something because I was like running the stuff in my head. And so then I went live, which I should be careful doing because I said a few cuss words when I've been there, but when you find something you're passionate about and you find something that you can kind of connect with people about, and sometimes it's just like an idea I have, like sometimes something will just pop in my head, like, you know, this way of eating is not working, or, you know, why, like I just started doing like stuff that, like a lot of questions I get asked, like about iron. So I'm just going to do a Facebook Live on iron. One, because it's going to save me a whole heck of a lot of time, because I'm going to save that. And next time somebody asks me about iron, I'm just going to send them that video. But, you know, things that like I'm learning, or something that, you know, I just learned this whole thing about mercury fillings and alpha lipoic acid. I'm going to do a live on it. I haven't done it yet because I need to like do a little bit more research on it, but that's something that's really new and that's like pretty cool and a lot of people don't know about. So something that maybe comes across your plate. You know, Kelly, for you, doing like a live on work-life balance when you're back at school and having a home-based business and how you're feeling, like just being vulnerable and honest. The more honest and vulnerable we are wherever we're at, you know, I've done them on, you know, I've done them on my bladder condition. Talking about your bladder is not an easy thing to do, especially when some of the people commenting and who I see on there, I'm like, oh my God, this person's listening to me talk about my pee problems. But it's helped a lot of people, right? So it's kind of like, I don't know, I have a list that I'll just like get ideas and I'll like mark them down. And then I just kind of get other ideas, and I have a lot of lists. But if you have ideas, write them down. And then sometimes it's good to go live once a week. You don't have to go live every day. It's good to go live once a week. Sometimes it's going to be longer. Sometimes it'll be shorter. One week I had 3 lives and I was just like, wow, this is a good week. I'm on fire. But when you're passionate about something and you can share about something, and Kelly, if you're green and there's stuff that you're like research, or that's something you found that's really cool and you want to share it with people, then do it. Whether 2 people are on or whether 200 people are on, like get past that number. Because once you start doing it, more and more people, when I first started doing lives, there'd be like 1 person on. Now there's like a lot. But you also kind of want to know your time frame. If you go live at 2 p.m, you're probably not going to have as many people as if you go live at 9 o'clock on Sunday night. You're going to have a lot more people. You have to know when people are on Facebook. So those are something else to keep in mind for lives.
Yes, anybody have questions for Tara before you're going to talk a little bit about products or ingredients?
Yeah. Can I say something real quick, Kelly?
Absolutely.
All right, so somehow I hid myself, but Tara, thank you. It's Stephanie. Thank you so much for your information tonight. It's awesome. I have watched your video, just so you know, on plexus micro or slim microbiome activating versus HC, and that was great information. So appreciate that so much.
That's the one that Facebook deleted.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, Facebook deleted that one when we were on Over Yonder Key.
So apparently you can't say anything. They might catch you.
Shoot,
oh,
it was so good.
Somebody reported it.
Oh,
yep.
Shame on them.
Yep. But I saved it. I had it, so that's why I'm telling you guys, save your lives. Save them to your computer, and then I just uploaded it to YouTube. So,
but yeah, that was it was so informational. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And then just now, as you were talking, I have 3 pages of notes. So again, I appreciate that. So your commenting circle really hits home. So that will be shared with our team, a smidge.
You can see it. You can see if it's the same people always comment on your stuff.
Very much.
You're stuck in a circle.
Yep.
Remember, Facebook only lets you see 175 friends. You have 175 spots in your feed that will be filled up. So that is coveted space. So keep that in mind.
That is great information. And then last, I know you said you're not like an Instagram guru yet, and neither are, I feel like, anybody on my team either, but you're following hashtags, not maybe people. Is that correct? Did I understand that correctly?
So I follow people, but I try not to follow too many people. So what I do, and I do this specifically to gain new followers for me to build new engagement. So for example, you can follow hashtags, and all you have to do is you go to search and you put a hashtag in, and it will give you an option to follow that hashtag. And so then that hashtag will come up in your feed. And so like for a couple of weeks, I was following Chasing Joy. And so because that's a hashtag I like to use a lot. So I want to see other people that are also hashtagging things that I like. And so then it comes up in my feed and their post does, and then I can comment on it. Or I can search a hashtag and it will show me lots of posts from lots of people with that hashtag. And I can kind of go in and see, oh, this is interesting. And I can comment on their stuff and start to build some relationships with people like that. And if they have a great feed, I may follow them, or I may just like be aware so that I'm working on building some relationships with more people on Instagram. Okay. And no, I'm still working on my Instagram. Like it is not easy. I'm very comfortable on Facebook. Instagram is, I'm still working, but.
I feel the same. 100% feel the same, that I'm just not exactly sure where to position myself. I try not to mention plexus, and I'm just, mentioning, benefits and positive statements and things like that.
And it's going to be the same on Facebook. So that's the thing. So the thing too, Instagram, it's okay to do business. Instagram, it's okay. Now the same advertising rules do go on Instagram because Facebook owns Instagram. You can only have a 20% text rule. You can only have, there's rules, but Instagram is for business. Like you can be used for business. What's so weird about your screen is it's red and it keeps like changing color. Did everyone else see that? That's really, it's crazy. Anyway, so, but yeah, find your thing, find your what works for you. And then once you get that going, then kind of expand elsewhere, the thing is, it's social marketing. So we have to keep the social aspect to it and not get into the sales part, because people never buy the thing ever. They only buy the why. They've done tons of studies on this. They buy the why. And if you're not communicating your why, and if you're not being vulnerable enough, and you guys being vulnerable on social media is not easy. But if you look at people who are phenomenal at it, if you look at Rachel Hollis writing her book and talking about peeing her pants, you guys, she connects with people because she is vulnerable and she is telling them the truth. And if we can do that and use her as an example, we can do that. It is not easy. And it's not easy to do without throwing some other people under the bus around us. So you have to, if people in your family or whatever, you have to be careful in how you bring them into it, and what you want to share. But the more authentic you can be, and the more people can see, oh, well, she can do this. If she can do this, I can do this. What you don't want to ever think, people will go, well, I can't do what you do. Yeah, you can, because I learned it. If I learned it, you can learn it. So that's what you want to just keep in mind, like that we're just all the same, right?
Perfect point.
Anybody else?
Anything else?
If you think of something, you can write it down, or you can just throw it in the chat before we leave. We can come back to anything if you think of it.
Yeah, so product wise, I'm just gonna do you guys have any specific questions? I could talk about products for like literally 8 days. Like I am so passionate about them, so passionate about ingredients. Is there any like questions you guys often get that you're like, I just really don't know this answer, or like this keeps coming up and I don't know what it is, or something weird that somebody's dealing with, or does anyone have anything that they want to throw out there? Because that's probably the easiest way for me to.
I have a question, or a question that's asked often is about whether or not there's artificial sweetener in the Slim. And I know that there's not, but I had somebody who said that they can't have sugar at all, like not even stevia.
Well, stevia is not sugar at
Okay.
all. So stevia, and so the source of stevia is also something that is very important. And this is in your information sheet. If you ever need it, this is in your information sheet in your back office. It has the exact source. So if they ever need that source of stevia. So stevia can be an incredibly processed sweetener as well. I, before Slim, could not have stevia, period. I did not know what I couldn't have, or what I could have was stevia. What I couldn't have was the highly processed form of stevia that maybe you got at Walmart that was mixed with a unorganic maltodextrin. Because that form of maltodextrin that's very common mixed with things like stevia comes from basically GMO corn. And that's a high reactor, and it's a high reactor for me, and it's a high reactor for a lot of people that have inflammatory conditions or autoimmune conditions. Stevia is very, very low on the glycemic index. If it comes in a non-GMO, depending on where it's grown, organic, it does not always have to be organic, but unprocessed form, which Plexus's is, then it is a very, very different type of basically sweetener, but it is not sugar. So, and stevia has been shown to actually reduce the glycemic, reduce blood sugar and balance blood sugar even more in other studies. So there's lots of information and research and studies on stevia. But again, it has to go with the source and process, just like a lot of things, just like whey. Not a fan of whey, not a fan of whey protein at all. Love P96 like nobody's business because of the source, because of how it is, how the actual cold pressed processing of that whey happens. Absolutely love it. And how it comes, the whey comes from those grass-fed cows in New Zealand, which is a better way of, can't think of the word off the top of my head. It's a better, they raise cows better than we do, basically, in New Zealand. But it doesn't carry an organic label because it's not USDA organic. Remember, if it has to be, to carry that organic label, it has to be USDA certified organic, and that is very, very different. But our P96 is phenomenal. So again, it's the source and the way it comes. Now, super important. If somebody has a ragweed allergy, they should not have stevia. And that is something that they kind of need to test. So I will give them a Slim and I'll be like, try a quarter of it. Right? Obviously, if they have an esophageal allergy and they need an EpiPen, they're not going to try it at all. But if maybe they get sniffles and it makes their eyes water, then give them a quarter of a stick and try. And I would try the HC versus the microbiome, just for a number of reasons. But the ragweed, so again, this depends on the source of where stevia, the flour mix, it's a kind of sciencey mix of how they get it, but very, very common that ragweed allergy also and stevia go hand in hand. So that is something that I do hear and I do see. The other thing, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, if you have mercury fillings in your mouth, you should not be taking alpha lipoic acid. And this is kind of a big deal, and we keep seeing this over and over and over with older people. Alpha lipoic acid is a heavy metal binder, which is fantastic. We want that. We want those heavy metals out of us. If you have mercury fillings, basically alpha lipoic acid has a life of 4 hours in your body. It will pull those metals out and it will exit your body, and those metals will be still sitting in your bloodstream, and you will basically feel like you're having heavy metal poisoning because you have those fillings in your mouth still. So if you're randomly noticing people that are just like really achy or not feeling good after a while, and sometimes I ask, hey, do you have by chance mercury fillings? It's usually not going to be people like our age. It's usually going to be people much, much, much older. I'd say 65 and up, just depending on if they've had stuff taken out of their mouths or not. But it's a conversation to have and something to keep in mind. And remember, alpha lipoic acid is in nerve and alpha lipoic acid is in slim.
So the other day, Tara, I asked you about Mega X, and that was actually a question from Rochelle about the EPA, the forms of the omegas.
I didn't look. You wanted me to look at.
But even like.
Oh, no. You just wanted to look at the name.
So can you talk about the EPA and the SDAs and how, like what that even means or what that is? Like for most of us, we're just like, okay, so it has 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. These are essential fatty acids. What's an EPA and a SDA?
So those are abbreviations for really, really, really long names.
Okay.
So there's EPA, there's GLA, there's SDA, there's ALA, there's what else? There's DHA. There's so many essential fatty acids, and it basically has to do with the chains of the fats in them. So they're all super long, really oleo, blah, 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 long names, okay? So they're all broken down to these abbreviations. The thing is, ultimately, they break down to EPA and DHA in the body, and they go through different processes when we consume them. Now, plant-based fats are going to have a little bit different process in the body than taking fish-based or I say non-vegan or vegetarian sources, okay? Because there's several sources. They're going to have a little bit different process. So for me, hands down, the best product we have for omega-3 is Ease. Green muscle lipid is the best, most absorbable, most anti-inflammatory form of omega-3s there are. And even me being pregnant, yes, I took Mega X. I took 3. I take 3 now. I take 3 because I want a little bit more than just their regular. I deal with a lot of inflammation in my body, and I really want to keep my inflammation down, and essential fatty acids are one of the best ways to keep your inflammation down. Our body needs essential fatty acids. They're called essential because it is essential to come from food. Our body does not make them. You must get them from food, and I just don't get enough. I add flax meal to my shakes, but again, that's only one source, so I want to get a much better balance. So This is a really good plant-based source, but that's why you're going to have the ALAs in here. What you asked me was actually the type of seed oil it was, and that's just the kind of seed because it's coming from nuts and seeds. But the 5 and 7, no matter what, they're super hard ones to get, and that's what I love about this. And I love that it. Hopefully soon, someday, they will remove the gelatin from it and it'll be completely vegan. Wishful thinking, but it is such a good vegetarian source. But when it comes to omega-3s and getting that big inflammation reduction, E's. I mean, as pregnant, I took 3 of these, and then I would take 6 to 9 E's on top to really get that high omega content that you need while you're pregnant. Pregnant and breastfeeding mamas need 1,200 milligrams. So it's really, really, really important of omega-3, not just omegas. But getting the whole balance is super important. And our brain functions on this. We want to think of our brain. If you think of your brain as just a whole bunch of parking spots, all those parking spots are filled with omegas. And they're filled with fats. And if you eat a lot of trans fats and junk, those trans fats fill those parking spaces, and they literally make your brain dumb. Literally dumb. Your brain does not function well. You want to think of like all these broken down cars parking there. Then you have to take omegas. Omega-3s have to go in there and fill that. And they have to knock those broken cars in to fill with all those Ferraris. And so you want your brain to really think of your brain like a parking lot filled with Ferraris. And so this will help. It was really important. It's really good for brain health, really good for cardiovascular health, really good for cell health. Omegas are so important for keeping our cholesterol down, repairing stomach lining, keeping, like if you have a lot of people with ulcers, people with gallbladder issues, gallbladder removal, Omega-X is so good for them.
So my understanding, and maybe you can clarify this, is because the source of the omegas in Mega-X is the ahi flower, that the ratios, and so is it APA or it's ALA, right?
Yes.
ALA.
It's
So-
it's ALA and SDA, but it's not just the ahi flower.
In Mega-X?
Nope.
What else is it?
A lot. You've got broccoli in it. You've got raspberry seed oil. You've got avocado oil. You've got pomegranate oil. You got a lot of things.
Did not know that. So just the ahi flower is sourcing.
Yeah, so the ahi flower is going to be that one word you actually asked me about, the bugler's, the
Biglosoides.
Yeah, the ridiculously long word, seed oil, that is the ahi flower.
Well, just knowing Plexus, they do their research and everything comes down to bioavailability, right? Yes. And with Mega-X, your essential fatty acids have to be in the right ratios. And so I can't speak to that, but I know that Plexus has done their due diligence. And so I don't know if you know anything else about that.
Yeah, but what I do, so the ratios are actually super good. The only thing is that for people with high inflammation, and this is going to go with any type of omega, if you have chronic inflammation or high inflammation, the recommended take 2 daily is just for Joe Schmo, no inflammation, and very, very healthy. Remember, when we want to go after more inflammation and we want to keep that inflammation down, we want to go for more aggressive health and healing, you may need more of these. If you have chronic sleep issues, I have a girl on my team who used to take a almost lethal dose of sleep medication to sleep for a very long time. She is now off all sleep meds, but she has to take 6. She takes 6 Mega-X with her ProBio 5 at bedtime, but she does no longer take sleep meds. That's a very fair swap, in my opinion, and in her opinion. So, it's just something to keep in mind. Depending on what your goals are, you may need to take more. But I do think this is an underutilized product. And when we ran out, my husband was like, I didn't know what it was doing for me until I suddenly was waking up at night and wasn't sleeping as well. So I know for me, it's huge for me is sleep, and it's huge for me with joint pain.
I think that a lot of us on our team, when you talk about anti-inflammatory properties, talk about alpha-lipoic acid. Are you suggesting that omega-3 is better for inflammation than alpha-lipoic acid?
So alpha-lipoic acid is really great for a lot of reasons. Yes, it is anti-inflammatory, and yes, it is insulin, and yes, it's a nerve. But because of basically omega-3s, specifically omega-3s, and all the research on how omega-3s decrease inflammation and what they do for cell health, I feel like they're just as important. So if I have somebody coming to me with severe inflammation issues, I will start them on Slim HC and a loading dose of Ease. I will knock out both right away. So I get that ALA in there, and I will get those high omegas in there, and I will go for it until they feel better. And as then that inflammation comes down, and if I can, I'll get them on X Factor plus 2, but sometimes I can't. Sometimes 3 bottles of Ease and Slim is their max. So it kind of depends on where their budget is. And if I can, I'll get them on X Factor plus 2 for that cellular healing. But once that inflammation comes down and they start feeling better and they trust me, then we go in after the gut. But if I go in after that gut first, that is going to cause way more inflammation to come up in the body, and they are going to quit before they get to their breakthrough. And so I have just found, and this is what I have a video, it is not public. Kelly, I'll share it with you privately, and you can share it with your team on autoimmune protocol that I do with my team. But basically, depending on now in the protocol, I can't remember because I made the video a long time ago. I'm not sure if we only had microbiome yet. We may not have had HC yet. I can't remember. But when microbiome was out, I wouldn't use it. I would only use X Factor Plus and Ease. Now that we have the HC, I'll use HC because I didn't want people to have any die-off. Because when you have that die-off, what happens is your most prominent issue comes up first. And if it's joint pain or if it's whatever it is, it's going to come up first. And people are like, I really don't want to feel any worse than I already felt. And so they bail. So the idea is to get them believe you, get them that this is an inflammation issue. Yes. And I talk to them about it from the beginning. So this is how I want to work with you, knowing that this is also a gut issue. But if we can get this inflammation down and get you feeling good and getting some of those digestive enzymes, and knowing that, guys, if you start with a loading dose of Ease, because of the enzymes, they could have a little die off and they could be going to the bathroom a little bit more. And I remember your body actually has to have a bowel movement to remove inflammation. So you actually want them going to the bathroom more. So Ease will help with that. And once that happens and they start feeling better and that they're like, wow, I'm like, my joints are feeling a lot better. Wow, my chiropractor said my inflammation's down, or what, they believe you now. And then you say, okay, you're feeling really good now. So let's start adding in BioCleanse, because magnesium is really, really important for brain health, for cell health, for muscle health, for getting that inflammation down. And then last but not least, we'll go in for the ProBio 5. And I will sometimes spread it out really long depending on what their inflammation is, so that it's a healing process and it's a healing journey. It's a health journey. It's not a health destination. And if we slam people too fast, they'll run.
So how often do you lead with triplex? Like, I think we always lead with triplex. That's very contradictory to what
I started with triplex. With the original triplex, with the original Slim. Fantastic results. When we had only microbiome, I changed it a lot because of the effects that microbiome has for a lot of people with my autoimmune conditions that I was seeing. Now that we have HC, I primarily do that again. If I have someone with autoimmune, I traditionally don't. I traditionally will do HC and Ease. So it has to do with that conversation. It has to do with what's going on with people. It has to do with that conversation with knowing if they're going to push through diet or not. And by asking some simple questions, you can kind of find out if they are. 80% of people that come to me for health, yes, I'm sharing them triplex HC. 80%. But when I get those ones that are coming to me that have 20 bulged discs, hip replacement that's not healing, gained 30 pounds, don't know why. Yeah, I'm not going to be putting them through any die-off because I already know that what's going to happen. So it's going to kind of, but yeah, the traditional, like, breastfeeding mom that wants more supply, that needs to feel better. Yeah, I'm going to put them on triplex.
We're going long, you guys, but this is such good information. I want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you have. And if you need to get off, and Tara, if you need to get off, just tell us you got to get off.
I'm okay. I told my husband, I'm like, just wait for me. I'll be upstairs. You guys have other questions?
Tara, you were just mentioning that you did the Slim HC and the loading dose of ease for those people with inflammation, but that was kind of on the heels of talking about Omega X as for people with chronic inflammation. At what point would you then have them start the Omegas if you're starting them with the Slim and the loading dose of ease?
So I kind of do it. This is purely for cost purposes. So when people, just to be really honest, unless I have somebody come to me with like heart conditions or a lot of cholesterol issues, I will wait on this mostly for cost purposes. If they're coming to me for sleep issues, they're starting on it right away. So it kind of depends on what is weighing the heaviest in their results. And you just got to ask the questions, because sometimes people have all these issues, but they really came to you for weight loss. But they may have all these other health issues, but they really want the weight loss. So it's kind of just asking those kind of open-ended questions and kind of pulling, like, what's their real motivator here? This is huge for people that have chronic inflammation, yes. And I know Brooke Hemingway, like, she will get with people with chronic inflammation, she'll have them do this limit to try to get, like, to order like 100 over if they're joining. She may have them do like a, like, for example, like a triplex HC or whatever, and have them maybe hold off, say, hey, if you want to join as an ambassador, but we're going to have you hold off on taking the ProBio 5 for maybe a few weeks, and throw in a couple bottles of Ease and some Omega X, or a couple bottles of Ease and X Factor Plus, or whatever, to get their 100 over. And then 3-4 weeks in, like, hey, I'm feeling great. Like, hey, let's add 1 ProBio 5 at bedtime. See how you feel. Let's add 1 ProBio 5 and BioCleanse together at bedtime. See how you feel. Again, kind of depends if they're pooping. All those questions come into factor. So I say for most people, I don't add this in for them until it's been a few months. But again, if they're coming to me with sleep issues, they're starting with it right away. So it's going to be kind of the conversation, I guess. If that makes sense.
It's so important just to talk to people and find out, get to, like, the heart of it, and to be candid, and it's really important.
And that kind of goes with what you focus on. Remember, I talked about that before. So, like, this month, my focus is to move. I made a focus of, I want to move 8 slim lean combos, slim HC lean combos, and triplex HC combos, like a combination of those two. So the focus of the people I'm working with this month is in that. And so I'm primarily sharing in that. The conversations I'm primarily having are in that. Yes, I'll have some people filter through that have other issues or whatever that I'll answer, but primarily my focus of what I'm doing that month is there. And it helps you. It really helps you. It helps you in reaching out to people. It helps you in having those conversations with people. And it keeps you in, like, it makes your responses easier because you're sharing the same thing. You don't have to, like, pull other. I have, that slim video is right here. Boom, drop. Like, I just shared it, like, with 4 other people. Like, I can do it really fast. So it saves you a lot of time, makes you very effective in your business too. And so that could too be why I'm not, like, having a Mega X month, because I'm not having a Mega X month right now. But Kelli had just talked to me about Mega X, and we just had this conversation about it. And I love it. And my husband loves it. It's just not something this month that I'm, like, super excited, like, sharing all over the place, but there is times where I have like my Ease Nerve Mega X months. Like those are the customers I'm going for, are those inflammation ones. Like I am a huge advocate for Nerve because of what it's done for my bladder. So I will have time where that's where I'm sharing. So if you kind of focus that too, it will help you as well. And it can kind of focus your education too. Like as part of your IPAs, if you spend a short time doing product knowledge or whatever, and you know your month, you're going to focus on E's and omegas and maybe nerve. So you're focused on like inflammation, like, you know, nerve support. Because again, this is great for nerve support. Like and you can do your research in those areas. It will grow your knowledge base in spurts. So you're not overwhelmed. Because it can be overwhelming. It can be too much. Does that help? Maybe?
Good stuff.
Okay.
Anybody else? It's getting late and I want to let you all get to bed and Tara get to bed. But if you have any questions, I don't want to.
So the other last thing I want to mention about inflammation, if you have somebody with chronic inflammation, they need to be on magnesium. Magnesium is so important for the muscles, for the bones, for cell health, for brain health. One of the most common issues with migraines is going to be magnesium deficiency, hormone imbalances, magnesium deficiency. So people often tell me, I don't need BioCleanse, I poop okay. You miss the boat hands down. BioCleanse is so, so, so important. But again, you want to really have that conversation with people because somebody may not be able to afford a whole, and yes, we want everyone to afford everything, but keeping in mind they're starting products and we don't want to slam them with too many at once either. It's overwhelming. So, you know, maybe they want to do 2 bottles of these and Slim HC and BioCleanse. That's also a great option. So knowing maybe they get headaches, maybe they have a lot of muscle stiffness and joint stiffness, BioCleanse is a fantastic option. So a lot of muscle pain and muscle soreness, remember that magnesium, that is a sign of magnesium deficiency, and BioCleanse is so amazing for that. So that's another one when it comes to chronic inflammation, keep that one in mind. But we got amazing products, guys. And if you don't have belief in our products, do whatever you can to watch videos, because the more belief in our products you have, that will filter into your posting. It will filter into you wanting doing lives. It'll filter into your social media, into the conversations you have with people, your daily life. If somebody asks me something today, I walked past a woman today that had a sticker on her car that said, implant illness awareness. Well, my power partner and one of my best friends in the world, Chastity Van Outen, who is an emerald in this company, she just had her explantation of her implants. She has an autoimmune response to implants. And so I walked past her at school today and I saw this on her car. I'm like, oh my gosh, wait a minute, you have implant illness? We got this a whole conversation, and seriously, like, she is living with like basically autoimmune issues and adrenal burnout, and she's taking all these supplements and nothing's working. Well, hello. Well, I'm sitting here super passionate about like what I do, how I have the journey I've been on when it's done for my son with eczema, as her daughter sitting there with horrible eczema on her face. So no, what we have, you guys, is just like, what we have is so incredible and so amazing. And you don't have to understand all the science about it. Read testimonies, be inspired, whatever it does to you for your personality to build belief, but be enthusiastic that you can literally help so many people. And if that is what can get you past being scared to do it for other people, do it. Because we need to take us out of it. It's not about us. It's not about us at all. It's who we can help. And keep that in mind. Because as soon as you can get past you and put you to the side, you guys are potential to help so many people. So, and you guys have such an amazing leader. Kelli is so awesome, and you guys are so lucky. So
thank you, Tara.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me. And Kelli, I will send you the autoimmune video. It's private, so I'll send it to you.
All right, you guys. Thank you for staying late. Have a fabulous night.
Thanks. Such great information.
Bye, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys. Love you all.
Good night.
Thank you.